Hi everyone and welcome to Hauntora. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. This is the place where we explore the darkest, most deeply unsettling true horror stories the internet has to offer. And if you've been here before, welcome back. Genuinely glad you're here. I almost didn't record tonight. Not because I was tired, because I've been staring at these two stories for 3 weeks, and every time I sat down to hit record, something stopped me. Call it instinct, call it whatever you want. I'm calling it respect for what these stories actually are. Links at the top of the description. Everything's there. 2 stories tonight. The first one will crawl into you slowly. You won't even notice until it's already there. The second one hit me like a wall. Still hasn't moved. I don't throw that around lightly on this channel, and you know that. Drop your reaction in the comments the moment it's over. I'll be there. Lights down. Let's begin. Viewer discretion is advised. I'm not the type to read into things. I treated house sitting like a transaction. Water plants, collect the check. Having stayed in over 30 homes without incident, I need you to understand that what changed my mind wasn't a feeling, it was a pattern. The job came from Claire, an attorney with a remote West Virginia property. She needed someone to manage it through October. The pay was great. She mentioned the nearest neighbors were her sister's family, a quarter-mile through the trees, and stressed they were very private. I thought nothing of it. The house was large and well-maintained, but the air inside was stale. The first 3 days were uneventful. I barely thought about the dark-roofed neighboring house. I never saw lights or vehicles, which fit Claire's description. On the 4th morning, I looked up from my porch coffee. There was a girl in the upstairs window next door, maybe 12 years old. She was completely still. I gave a small reflex wave. She didn't move. I brushed it off. The next morning, she was there again, same window, same unnatural stillness. I watched for 2 minutes. She didn't shift or blink. Something felt wrong. Like a mental loose thread, but I told myself to stop staring. Yet I couldn't forget her face. Even from a distance, she looked unhealthily pale and thin. Day 6. Same window. This time I had my bird-watching binoculars. I adjusted the focus and found her face. She was looking directly at me. Her eyes tracked me, and I could clearly see the hollows under her eyes and how her collarbone protruded. She slowly raised a hand and pressed it flat against the glass. My heart hammered. I called Claire to establish some context, but got voicemail. She never called back. The next morning, I waited on the porch before sunrise. She appeared at 7:15. I raised the binoculars. She was already looking at me. Slowly, she opened her mouth. I couldn't hear her, but I can read lips. 2 words. Help me. I called my friend Marcus, who brought another friend, Deja. They arrived that afternoon. Marcus wanted to call 911, but I hesitated, afraid of being wrong. Deja quietly said, "What if she can't afford for us to wait?" We walked over. The smell hit us before we even opened the unlocked door. Something sour, old, and biological. We called out. Nothing. The dim interior felt intentionally maintained, but entirely devoid of human warmth. Marcus called 911. 2 deputies arrived in 11 minutes. We told them about the window and the words. One went upstairs, the other downstairs. It took them 40 minutes to find the basement access behind a painted-over panel in the utility room. I wasn't inside when they found her. A deputy came out, his voice carefully flattened to hide his emotions. She was alive. A severely malnourished 12-year-old, kept in a windowless space below the floor on a thin mattress. What came after was slow and ugly. Claire's family had old money and connections. I received polite but threatening phone calls. A lawyer showed up unannounced, gently suggesting I rethink why I had trespassed. I gave my statement twice, but I was systematically pushed out of the legal process. The child was placed in care, but the responsible people didn't go to jail immediately. A county official used the word connections in a way that still makes me sick. I stopped taking house-sitting jobs. I still lack a complete explanation for the timeline or how long she was down there. Instead, I'm left with the image of her face in the binoculars. Not scared, just waiting. Like hope and its absence had collapsed into the same thing. I keep wondering if she had been standing there for weeks, mouthing those words to an empty house next door. I'm not someone who reads the room wrong. That's why I got into childcare. After 4 years as a professional nanny, I had a system. I could tell within 10 minutes whether a home was chaotic or organized, if the parents were anxious, or if the kids would be a project. So when I tell you something was wrong with that house from the moment I walked in, I don't say that lightly. The job came through a premium platform where clients pay just to access vetted sitters. The posting was straightforward. 2 boys, 6 and 9, 2 dogs, 5 days, at a mountain property 2 hours outside the city. The rate was double my usual. When I asked about it on the video call, the mother, I'll call her Claire, said they value discretion and that previous arrangements had been difficult. I noted the phrasing but didn't pry. The property was massive. A 3-story house backed against a heavy tree line. The father, David, met me at the door and carried my bag inside. The house was staged immaculate like a showroom. Claire gave me a heavily rehearsed tour, which codes to use, which fridge shelves to access, without making eye contact once. The boys were quiet in a watchful way, not shy or sad, just intensely observant, especially the 6-year-old. He'd stare at me with a concentration that didn't fit his age. When asked questions, they answered in short, precise sentences. By evening, I felt less like a guest and more like a subject. Claire's first call came on day 2. Routine check-in, she said. I told her about our morning walk and movie. She asked, "Did Eli eat his whole bowl? He usually leaves the last few bites." I hadn't mentioned breakfast, let alone what Eli ate. I rationalized that she just knew her kid well, but I wrote it down in my phone anyway. On day 3, she complimented the dusty blue sweater I'd worn the previous afternoon. I froze, thanked her, and hung up quickly. There were no visible cameras. I checked the thermostat, the smoke detectors, the clocks. Nothing. I tried to shake it off, made dinner, and put the boys to bed. I didn't sleep well. The attic access was outside the master bedroom. I only noticed it because a dog kept staring up at it. I pulled down the hatch and climbed the ladder. Inside were boxes labeled with years, going back a decade. I opened the newest one, printed photographs, candid shots of an unfamiliar woman, taken from high angles suggesting built-in hidden cameras. She was in the kitchen, reading, sleeping on the couch. The timestamp was 18 months old. I checked the next box. Different woman, different year, same angles, same rooms, same house. I climbed down slowly. Running meant making noise, and I knew I couldn't make a sound. I packed my bag in under 4 minutes, walked to the front hallway and called Claire. She picked up on the first ring. I asked where she was. "Still at the resort," she said. "Is everything all right?" Right then, a floorboard creaked above me, in the master bedroom. As Claire kept talking calmly, someone on the second floor started moving toward the stairs. The footsteps were slow, heavy, and adult. I pocketed the phone silently. I woke the boys, telling them we were going on a surprise night drive. My voice somehow stayed steady. The younger one just stared and said, "Okay." The older one didn't even question it, a detail that deeply bothered me later. I drove until I hit a cell signal and called the police from a gas station 6 miles down the mountain. The boys sat in the back seat, eating vending machine chips, acting like nothing had happened. The responding officers searched the unlocked house and found the boxes. But without proof of a specific crime, their hands were tied. Claire called the station claiming the photos were a home security project and acted distressed that I had taken her children. The police deemed them cooperative. Before I left, an officer quietly told me they'd found a recently disturbed, roughly rectangular patch of earth near the backyard tree line. They flagged it for follow-up. That was 2 years ago. I never heard back. I don't take live-in jobs anymore. I don't explain why. I just tell families I prefer to work days.